Get right. So session length about 35 to 45 minutes. Obviously, welcome to UK Versity. Thanks for choosing us. So in today's discussion, we're going to look at course overview. We'll go through some of the basics of the course. We'll go and look at in detail Moodle, which is the learning platform from which you are going to get all the teaching and learning material. We are also going to go through what is called assessment and feedback. And here I will briefly show you what is Harvard referencing. We will look at some of the documents like command verbs. We'll look at an assignment brief, a sample assignment, just in case. And then towards the end, what I would do is basically, not towards the end, you can ask me any question, any query that you have so that we can discuss this in detail today. So my intention is that towards the end of this session, you should be confident of understanding how the course will run, who are the key people in the course, your tutors, your lecturers, when the sessions happen, how do you request for a tutorial, who do you get in touch with, if things are not working, who are the people you call. You should have the college switchboard in terms of the number. You should be able to contact us via WhatsApp or email, and we normally get back to you quite quickly, as you've seen in the past. So this call is being recorded, and what we will do is share a copy of the recording with you in full so that you are able to, go through anything which is required at a later stage as well. Now, if for some reason you feel that the voice starts to distort, that means there's a bit of a slowness or the screen freezes, what I'm going to do is obviously switch off the video so it lowers the bandwidth and you're able to get everything through clearly.
No, it's okay. I can control it from my side, no problem.
That's fine. So normally, because on the recording, it will record a small window of video as well as what I'm going to show in terms of screen. So what I will do is, in order to keep the recording to a small size, at some stage, I will switch off and switch on the video at my end so that we are able to, have the recording not bloat up into 1 gigabyte and things like that. It is manageable and it can be sent to you. Okay, because with video with screen sharing and also audio, which is simultaneously talking, the recording size can become for an hour-long recording up to 1 gigabyte. So what I want to do is keep the recording, of that low. So if you have any questions, ask me there and then, because it's just a one-on-one session. This is specifically being done for you to get you started and enrolled and inducted into the course. So feel free to ask any questions at any given time through the chat route or through, by just asking questions straight away, and we'll take it from there.
No problem.
So, first things first, what I'm going to do is obviously open a browser window. And in that, what I want to do is basically make sure that you are able to see the system and you're also able to see this particular notepad, which will allow us to write some comments and, things that we need from time to time. One quick question which I want to check with you is, how are you joining this webinar? Is it on a PC, laptop, tablet, phone? What is it?
Laptop and my phone.
Okay, that's great. So that means you have a big screen and you're able to see everything clearly, which is good. Excellent. Now, first things first, one of the things which I'll ask you to look at, at some stage would be to basically look at the website, because website is the central place from which you can actually go to all the platforms. You can access pretty much everything from there. So on this side, if I say, for example, if you want to go to Moodle, which is our learning platform, you can click here on the top. If you want to send an email to IT, to admin for anything that you require in the course, that can be done from here. If you want to drop a message on WhatsApp, it can be done from here. So basically, these are good starting points because of the website. So what you can do is you can click on the lock and drag it to the bookmark bar, and that will add the website to your browser. And at a click of a button, you should be able to pretty much access everything and see everybody. Now, you're going to meet some of the tutors, but what I want to do is from the website also show you the operations team of the people who are in the back end in terms of course administration and journal IT, so that you are knowing at least them by face. Now, Amrita, she's a registrar. She looks after your registration. She coordinates the assessments, and finally, towards the end, gets your certification done with the awarding organization. I have my colleague Catherine. She's the course administrator, so she's the one who would be probably getting in touch with you on email or phone once in 15 days. You will get emails from her which will ask for progress or any queries, doubts, any issues, and regular touch. There's another colleague of mine called Aman. He's also the course administrator, and obviously he will also be sending emails from time to time, and you would be in touch with him with regards to the course and course progress. We have my colleague Dania. Now she works remotely. She's the administrator in the office essentially. So if at any given point in time when you submit an assignment, you want a sample assignment, you have a difficulty in getting hold of a tutor, you have a query, that is what she would be coordinating between the tutor and the college. On the finance side, you paid all the fees, so there is probably not going to be much touch with OTHM because he's predominantly in the finance side, so he's the financial controller. And then we have Dr. Michael Bang, he's the director of operations for Asia. So obviously he would also not, maybe you would not probably get in touch with him. I'm one of the tutors as well. So obviously if I go back to the homepage on this program, you'll probably get to meet up with me, one of the tutors. Apart from me, there are going to be other tutors which will teach this program. So we've got Anjum, he's a lecturer in the University of Bradford, and Doncaster College. We teach in different places. So obviously you'll get to meet up with him. We've got a tutor, Sanjay. He's a senior consultant with Ernst & Young, and he recently was in Jeddah for 3 months on a project for the government. So he is aware of Saudi Arabia as well. And he's visited Saudi Arabia, Riyadh 2-3 times from Ernst & Young. So he's going to be one of the lecturers. And then I have some guest lecturers, which sometimes come in, sometimes don't. You have Dr. Chibuzu, he's the head of Business and Law School in De Montfort University. And then I also have Dr. Aminu. He teaches in a lot of different universities in London, especially University of East London, and one of the large FE colleges called LIDC, Lion Community College. So some of them, sometimes we also organize guest lectures, and you might see them, you might not see them. But as far as tutors are concerned on the course, we've got a couple sometimes because they are working in other locations also teaching. So they come in and teach only 1 unit or 2 units. So when you're studying the course with us, what will happen is you'll get to see at least 2-3 tutors or lecturers who are teaching their individual subject because they are expert and they teach the same subject in university or same subject in FE college in the UK. So there are 8 units that we are going to cover, and we will tell you about the tutors and other bits who will cover what unit at a later stage. If you have to write an email to anybody in UK Versity, it is always their first name followed by UK Versity. As simple as this. You don't need to worry about, if you need to write to me, it's Raman. If you need to write to Catherine, it's Catherine. If you need to write to Aman, it's Aman. If you need to write to IT, Victor. So there are lots of different people, and obviously you can write emails by just the first name followed by ukversity.co.uk. So we've kept it simple there. Now, the other link that you will go across to will be Moodle. So when I click on that link, it'll take you into Moodle. And this is our learning, teaching and learning platform. Now, I'm logged in as the administrator today because I need to show you a lots of ins and out of the system. But when you log in, you would see just one tile or one course essentially, which will allow you to see the bits and pieces of your course that you're studying. Is that okay? So when you log in, have you logged into the system now that you have access?
Yes, I log in already.
Okay, so you log in and you
check log already.
That's great. So you see one tile in the system, and obviously that is the course that you're enrolled to study with us. Now, apart from this, if I look at the basics of the system, it's a straightforward system wherein what you see primarily is that if I put it this way, that basically it's a 2-column layout. So this is where your course material is going to be, and this is where your navigation and controls are going to be. So if I get into your course now, there are 2 ways of doing it. One, you have a tile here, you click on that, and that will take you to the course. And the other way would be when you drop down on the menu on the top and choose your course, which is ATHE Level 7 Diploma in Strategic Management short form, and you get into the course. So this is your entire course laid out. Now, sometimes when you see this particular course on your side, you would see maybe a lot of units, a lot of names, but because this particular course has different pathways, we will discuss a bit later because I'm just going to go through the demonstration of the platform. This course offers you a specialization that you can do. You can do most popular pathways unendorsed. That means a journal pathway, which allows people to progress into an MBA because all the modules on this side are mapped with the MBA of the university. But if you want to specialize and you're not looking at progressing towards an MBA, then you could look at specializing into marketing, into HR, into accounting and finance, and into operations. So those are the 4 pathways. So that's why when you log in, you would see a lot of units. But depending on your registration and what pathway you are doing, those units will become available to you, and some of the units which are not related to your course would be hidden from you. Is that okay? And because I'm logged in the administrator, so I see everything, and I can go and interact and change the units and things like that. Now, today, our main aim would be to primarily go through, this particular section, which is the pre-enrollment section, or the things that you need to access first before you start reading into the course. So we'll be looking at your course handbook, we'll be looking at Harvard referencing, we'll be looking at command verbs. There's a learner handbook that you want to read if you have to. There are some video demonstrations of Harvard referencing. This is our own video that we've created. And then we will also look at other bits that we've spoken about, which is things like a sample assignment, things like how assessment and feedback is done. That also we will go through. Now, in the system, what I want to do is basically also show you that how we are going to look at a particular unit and how they are assigned. Now, in the course that you're doing, there are 8 units, 4 are mandatory. That means whether you do a pathway or you do a normal course, you will need to cover these 5 basic units. They are common across the course. And there are 3 optional units, which are basically going to be units that you can choose. If you do a general pathway or if you do a specialist pathway, then these 3 units are going to be specialist units. Like, for example, if you choose marketing, then you'll be required to do brand management, you'll be required to do marketing communication, and you'll be doing sales and marketing. So those are the 3 optionals that you will have to do. So in that case, the qualification will have up to 8 units, and all of them will become mandatory. But in the journal pathway, because there are lots of units, you can pick and choose the 3 units that you want to do, and those are going to be available on your login. Now, in any particular unit that we go into, for example, if I click on strategic planning, these are headings of the unit that you see, and if you want to look at navigation of going back to the page, one step back, so you click on the breadcrumbs on the top, click on the short form of the diploma, you'll go back to what you see as headings. Now, that does not mean the material is not there. When you click on any of the heading, as you see, it changes color. So if you see a yellow colored box around it, that would mean that this unit is going to be delivered live. And you have the option to attend live sessions like the one that we are doing now. And these sessions are done because we have to refresh recordings, we have to change the presentations. Sometimes these units are delivered by different lecturers. So the idea is to keep everything up to date. So if you want to join live sessions, you'll be getting a Zoom invite like you've got today. And these sessions, when they happen on Saturday and Sunday, they are predominantly done wherein you have the ability to be able to see the lecturer, talk to him, ask questions, and there are other learners also who are able to join live, and there's a bit of an interaction that can be done by attending live lectures. Now, one last thing which I want to quickly show on Moodle is when you dive into and choose one of the units, what happens is the unit opens up. And what you will see is when the unit opens up, there are lots of attachments. And sometimes we remove old recordings, but hide them rather than delete them. So we've hidden recordings which have been done, or delivery which has been done earlier. And the most up to date would be always visible to you. So when you look at this particular session, there is a particular way in which things are organized. So if I just bring my cursor here, what you're going to see is in every unit, you're going to be able to see what is called a unit specification. And this unit specification basically talks about unit aims, objectives. There are some learning outcomes and there are some assessment criteria. Now, when we make presentations, when we teach and deliver, we are going to teach and deliver using each learning outcome. So one session is going to have coverage of one learning outcome. So if the unit has so many learning outcomes like 2, 3, 4, and 5, then in that case, that means that this unit is going to have 5 presentations, 5 recordings, and it will have details of all of those available for you to study, because we cannot teach and deliver the whole unit in one session. So there'll be 5 sessions, plus towards the end, you also have an additional session to discuss the assignment brief, how to do the assignment, what evidence has to be collated, and how you put that evidence into the assignment, whether it's a presentation or a Word document which has been asked to be presented, that will also be discussed. So every unit would essentially have, depending on the number of learning outcomes, as we call them LOs in short here, it will be having that many number of recordings or sessions. And in addition to that, +1 will be there primarily to do the discussion on the assignment brief. So this particular bit that we look at is the one that the lecturer uses to teach and deliver. And we cannot be just teaching you anything. The indicative content which is given at the back is actually used to make the presentations and the teaching. I just can't teach you anything. So the awarding organization has clearly specified what you need to learn in the unit of strategic planning. And all this that you see is covered in detail in the presentations. Is that okay?
Yes, yes, yes.
So when we look at the first document in any unit, what you're going to see is what is called the unit specification. Now, the second, third, fourth document will always be books that we have bought and integrated to study this particular unit. And these are books which are recommended for the study of each unit. So in some cases, we have 3 books, in some cases 2, in some cases 1, if it's very detailed and directly related to the content. But overall, in the college, we have over 4,500 ebooks. So for each unit and for this course, we would have in excess of 66 books available for the student to study. So we have bought all the books out. Everything which has been recommended by the awarding body is available. And it's a case of assuming you find this book is not good enough, or you find that this book, you want to look at other chapters and other books, we can make available that book within 15-20 minutes of your request coming in, because all the books for all the units are available with us, because we have made the material, the presentations from the books. So lecturers use it, students use it when you do your assignment, so that you're able to bring material from the book, Harvard reference it, and then it avoids plagiarism as well. Is that okay? So in this unit, for example, strategic planning, we've got 1 book, and then we've uploaded one particular, handout or a case study, which is going to be used, or, it could be a scope of discussion, sometimes when the lecture is happening, because it will talk about a company and allow us to discuss something in detail. But apart from that, all the individual learning outcomes and presentations that you see will have their own additional handouts. So for example, in the first learning outcome, now everything that I'm showing you is actually available on Moodle, but I'm going to try and pull a few documents offline to just make it quicker and faster. So if I just go into the unit specification of strategic planning as a unit, just to relate what we are talking about. So if you see strategic planning and we look at the first learning outcome, which talks about all this, and if I click on the first presentation, now our presentations are quite detailed, because what we see is that learners mostly study from our presentations, and you will get 80 to 90% of your knowledge and content coming from our presentation. So when I look at particular unit, you would see that we are talking about things which are predominantly covered, in the indicative content of, the learning outcome 1. So it talks about strategy. What is the meaning? We start with some key terminology. What is strategy? How has strategy evolved over the years? how has this become a process within the organization, and then we go into some of the learning outcomes. So it says and talks about evaluate the position, and talk about key strategic models. All that then covers the indicative content which is actually given here. Okay, so as you can see, the presentations are quite detailed, and the reason why they are detailed is because when we discuss the lecture and the content, the idea there is to cover the content in a lot more detail by taking up examples, practical case studies, so that you're able to understand the concepts and the key frameworks required. And then it gives you that confidence that, yes, I've covered learning outcome 1. Is that okay?
Yes, it's okay.
Now, sometimes it's difficult for us to cover everything in the slide. So what we do is we have created our own handouts, and these are discussed during the presentation. So for example, we need to talk about strategy. Why is strategy important? What is vision of the organization? So we've taken up the example of Apple as an organization. And these are case studies that we have not made. These are industry specific case studies with facts which have been bought. And this is one from ISJER, which is the Society of International Journal and Engineering Research. And we will use this. And this could also be for extra reading, so that you're able to learn and crystallize things of what has been covered by the lecturer in the slide. So for example, a Harvard Business Review handout on what is strategy, so that it is up to date, most latest, or maybe a case study or something quite particular in terms of the article is also uploaded. And these handouts will be specific to one learning outcome. So under LO1, you will see a session recording of learning outcome 1, which will be a presentation. Like in this case, I had revised this. So I have done a lecture. So I have done a lecture which is about an hour, 30 minutes, but it will be covering. I'm not reading through the slides. I'm going to be talking to you about the slide and the background of it, and I'll take you through structuredly how to go about understanding the contents of this unit. And this is just the first learning outcome. And underneath that, you will also have some additional handouts. So sometimes there are case studies, sometimes there's articles, journals, or sometimes there are also templates which you can use for your own assignment. Like one of the templates that we've got here is the 5C analysis template, which we talk about when we talk about the 5 C's of customer in terms of forming a strategy. So company looks at customers from where the business comes. It also maps it against its competitors, because you need to look at competition and how they're faring in the market. What are the partners and suppliers, which are called collaborators, and how the external environment using pestle analysis, like political environment, economic environment, social cultural environment, can affect the workings of the business. So we talk about these 5 C's, and some of these will also be as templates, so that you can also download them and then fill them up, and they will become a part and parcel of your evidence for the tasks that you do in assignments. Now, this kind of a layout follows through. So you have a learning outcome 2, then presentation, in some cases, one handout, or in some cases, if things have been very clear and we've been able to cover everything in the presentation, you generally would not have an handout. But in some cases, we will see the handouts will be more because they are required and it is difficult to cover everything. We have to give examples, additional reading material. And this kind of a layout that you see would then be available in all the units. So this is the first unit. If I go into the second unit, navigation comes to the bottom. Again, you'll have unit specification, you'll have assignment brief, a book, some handouts which are related to the book or the unit, and then learning outcome 1, all of those things. And then again, next unit, this layout will follow through. Is that okay? So content-wise, books-wise, presentation, handouts, when you study with us, you are getting everything from us. You're not going to Google. You're not having to browse or read books on Google. You will get everything from us: presentations, handouts, emails, books, case studies, journals, articles, and even our own handouts that we've created, a sampler assignment, an assignment discussion session, how the assignment has to be done towards the end of the unit. And then in the end, what you're looking at doing is submitting the assignment brief, wherein we will give you feedback, because this is a graded qualification. So you can achieve a pass, a merit, or a distinction. And when you look at this particular aspect, what will happen is sometimes I have learners who are working and they want to just do the qualification. So what they do is they will attempt only the pass tasks across the assignment, and that will only give them a pass. But if you want to achieve a merit, then in that case, you have to do pass plus all the merit tasks. And if you want to achieve distinction, you have to do everything. That means you'll be covering everything in thorough details, and that would allow you to achieve the highest grade in the unit. One of the things that you have to keep in mind is that when I look at pass will always be talking about theoretical aspects. So what is this model? What is that model? It will always have, words like explain, analyze, mostly explain, describe, define, because it is asking you to cover theory. In merit tasks, it will ask you to start building arguments. You're not looking at doing a separate task. So here it takes, give you an example, talks about relationship between mission, vision, and business plans. But what it is asking you to do in merit is, for a named organization, what you have to do is give an example. So the same task that you're doing 1.1 is actually going to be extended, but here in this one, you have to take an example to be able to achieve merit. So it is not technically a separate task, but it is saying, now that you've given me theory-wise, what is a mission, what is a vision, what is a business strategy, what are the business plans, can you give me an example and relate them to an organization? So if you stretch that past task by taking an example, you are going to be able to achieve merit. Now, merit task is not there in all the learning outcomes, because here in the UK, the assessment system wants learners to be able to differentiate the work. So it is not a case of asking you to write more and more and more. It is a case wherein they are going to ask you to talk about your experience, maybe if you've read a case study, an article, and explain and contextualize that, which will mean that you are able to achieve a merit grade. Now, merit opportunities are always 3, not more than that. So there'll always be 3 merit tasks in any assignment. Generally, it is 3. Sometimes it can be 4 as well, but generally 3 or 4, not more than that. And when I look at distinction always will be not more than 3 tasks. Now, in distinction, it will ask you to demonstrate. That means you have to physically do. You have to actually do it and explain. So if I give you an example here, it is talking about explain the external factors which affect organization. Now, what are external factors? Anything which is not in the control of the company. So if I have an employee leaving, that means it's a company problem. Company can recruit more employees. But if I have a pandemic running and the economy crashes, then it can affect not just your business, but every other business. So in this case, this is an external factor. Currency fluctuation. So in Saudi, for example, the oil price of Saudi Aramco goes up and down. The reason why it goes up and down, because how it is trading in the market, how much stock is being sold, oversupply, undersupply affects that. And that affects share price and currency. So if the dollar goes up and down, the petroleum price goes up and down of the crude oil. So that's an external factor. It might not just affect Saudi Aramco, but it might affect other companies or countries producing oil like Iran or in Turkestan and things like that. So here, when you explain these external factors, what in the distinction task it is asking you to do is primarily analyze what could be the factors that affect that, or as a factor affect the organization. So here again, I'm going to take an example. And because it talks about analysis, what we have to do is look at building arguments. And these arguments could be, so here what I have to do is apply a framework, like a PEST framework, which is basically a short form for political, economic, socio-technological, legal, and environmental, PESTEL. So using this framework, what I'm going to do is build some arguments of why external factors like political instability, economic downturn because of the pandemic, 2 or 3 such factors I have to put in to show analysis, because I've studied something and then I've built them as arguments and brought it into my work, and that shows analysis. So when you do that and explain it in a named organization, as you can see, this will allow you to achieve distinction. Okay, so technically speaking, it is not a separate task. It is asking you to stretch the same theory which you have covered by mentioning pestle here, but here what you're doing is contextualizing it by taking an example of a named organization. So I might take Saudi Aramco or maybe any other organization that you're aware of, and that would help me to achieve distinction. Is that okay?
Yes, yes. Yeah.
So basically, when you look at the, let's say the unit specification, and while we are at it, I will jump to showing you the assignment for this particular unit. You would see that there is no difference between how, the assignment brief and the tasks are given. Now, what happens in the assignment brief? When you look at it, both the documents that you see are actually similar. Okay, how they are similar? If you look at the task given here, 1.1, which is the criteria that you will address, you see this, it is exactly the same, no change in wording. And it says, just as an example for you to point out, that this is actually AC 1.1. Similarly, AC 1. Now here, it is gone to 2.1, 2.2, 2.3. So if I look at this one here, this is exactly the same as this one. Now, what is the difference in the assignment brief? What the assignment brief will do is, it will create a logical flow. Why is it not gone from 1.1 to 1.2 or 1M1? Is because in the assignment, they will want you to do a logical flow of how to address and create the evidence. So first of all, they've asked you to talk about mission, vision, and after that, how the company's mission and vision is affected by the external factors, who are the stakeholders, and what changes can affect. And then the merit grade, which is the distinction grade, which is analyze, mission and vision. So what they do is they create a bit of a flow, which logically flows when you're writing your thoughts. It's not asking you to do one task, which is tangent, and then look at another task, which has a different evidence. So it'll create a flow in the assignment. That's one. Second, it'll ask you to give you a background of what organization to assume. Now, I have years of experience, 22, 23 years of experience. So I can pick out Apple and, the case studies that we've given here. You can pick up those to be able to bring into the assignment. But the awarding body in this case gives you a bit of a scenario. And this scenario is that you are working as a junior management role in a company called Vista, a fictitious background, a fake background to assuming that you were working in an organization and you were working and reporting to the board, you are then tasked by the board to do these tasks. And here is where they ask you to look at then completing these tasks, right? Sometimes if I give you an example here, sometimes what happens is if you have children, what you do is you tell them to do something, they don't listen. But you then give them a background that if you do this, you are going to get that. And this is going to be beneficial for you. So similarly in the assignments, what the awarding organization does is gives you a background or a scenario. And with that assumption of the scenario, it asks you to develop these as tasks or evidence in your assignment. Is that okay? So if you follow this, you write an assignment. For example, if I just briefly open a document and say, I've completed this unit, I've completed my study, and what I want to do now is basically do and start writing the assignment. So here, whether I follow the assignment brief or I follow the unit specification, it is exactly the same because both these things are worded exactly the same. When I go into further parts, you would see it is hitting different criteria, 1.1, 1.2, 2D1. When I go to this, it is mapping similar things from what is given in the unit specification. Exactly the same. It says to review the position of current market opportunities. So here is this task, 3M1. You see that? And it is marked 3M1. So if there's a distinction task here, it will also mention a distinction task separately. And the reason why this is being done is because the awarding body wants it to be clear that if you're looking at just the pass, then please do the basic task. If you want to achieve the merit, then you do this plus the merit task, which is this. If you want to achieve distinction, you do everything. And each of these activities are labeled quite clearly and separately. Is that okay?
Yes, okay.
So this kind of a layout with presentations, recordings, handouts, books, articles, journals will be across all the, Moodle when you access your course. Is that okay? If you have to go back, just click on the breadcrumbs on the top, go back one level, and you will go back to the headings. So that is Moodle, and that is the repository or the resource that you will have to be able to access this, from any device, as long as you have access to the internet. Now, one other thing which I will show you very quickly related to the platform is that when you are on the home page, if you forget your username or your password, so all you have to do is click on this option, forget username and password. It'll ask you your username or your email address, which is all unique. One of them you have to put, and it will straight away send you a link which will come into your email, and that will be the temporary password reset link. And you click on that and it will allow you to reset it. Now, if you want to watch a video in terms of how to reset it, there's a video that we've created here, and that's available on the home page without logging. Now, if you want to set up Moodle on your tablet, on your phone, iPhone or Android, which phone do you have?
iPhone.
Okay.
iPhone 8.
Okay. So if you want to set it up on your iPhone, all you have to do is download this free application called Moodle on your phone, and that would, from your iOS store, and that would allow you to set this up on your phone. It'll take only 30 seconds. You need to know 3 things while you're actually setting up Moodle. One is, what is the URL, which is this URL. This URL where the website is, essentially.
Okay.
You should know your username and you should know your password.
Yeah.
These 3 things, if you have, it'll take you 30 seconds to install this on your phone. Now, the advantage is you can actually take your course with you wherever you're going. And if you're traveling, you have time, you can listen into the recordings, you can see the presentation. The only thing will be the screen will be small, because this is a responsive system. So it adapts to the size of your screen, and that allows you to basically, take the access of the course. You can download the files, you'll have full access. You can do everything that you have to do on a laptop. You would be able to do that on your phone as well. So you'll be able to see the presentations, listen into the recordings. The advantage we get when you have this on your side would be that because it's on your phone, we have the access to push notifications to you, like calendar of sessions, announcements, reminders for assignment submission. All that will be coming up as a text message on your side because you're logged into the Moodle on your phone. So it allows us to send anything that we do in terms of the calendar side of things on Moodle, or if I put an announcement or the IT administrator puts some sort of a messaging system on it, and it says send to users, it will send it to anybody who's subscribed to this particular course. Okay, so this is not mandatory, but this is something that you can do as well if you want to. And this is something which is given on the home page of the site. So you can access it from here. Okay. Now, let's look at some of the documents that we want to see quickly with regards to, the course. Now, one of the documents that I'm going to show you is the course handbook, which is an ATHE course handbook. So this document that you see is going to be primarily a document which is a awarding body handbook, and it gives you the pathways which I was mentioning here. So as of now, your registration that we have done is on the journal pathway. But should you wish to change it, then you need to drop an email to Amrita, and she's the one, she will alter the registration with ATHE, and then she will drop an email to Victor in IT, and he will reconfigure your Moodle to make sure that the modules that you choose in the pathway are visible to you for study.
Again, please. Again, Mr. Man.
Okay. So basically, as of now, your registration is on the, you're doing the extended diploma, which is 120 credits. That's the number of the qualification, which is on the off-call register. So if you have to get an approval from Saudi Ministry, and I've done this qualification, they will want an off-call qualification number, and that will come from the course handbook.
Okay.
Now, in the qualification, there are 4 specializations that you can do. You can do, and you have to choose one. Currently, you are registered on the general pathway.
Okay.
But if you decide that I want to specialize in finance or marketing or HR, which is managing people, or international, then you will need to send an email to Amrita. She's the registrar. So if I look at Amrita, and she would basically get your registration changed to that pathway, with ATHE.
Okay, I got it.
And then she will drop an email to Victor, who will then reconfigure your Moodle. Because for each pathway, there are different units, if I show you.
Okay.
Right?
Yes.
So he will make sure that the right units are actually reflecting in your login.
Okay.
So if you see, this is the, what I want, this page is what I want to show you. When you look at page 11 of the course handbook, it talks about the qualification. And this is the generic pathway which you are registered on. So you have 5 mandatory units: strategic planning, finance, research, organization behavior, personal development, and strategic management. This you have to do whether you do this or any other pathway. Now, depending on the pathway you choose, assuming you choose finance, then your 3 units that you have to choose will be out of these 3. International business environment, quantitative methods, and international finance, or developing organization vision and strategic direction. If you choose marketing, then the 3 units that you have to do, because there is no other option, these will be the 3 units you have to do along with these 5. If you choose managing people, there are only 3 units, so there is no option. So you have to do all these 8 to make 120 credits. If you do international, then obviously, again, there are no options because there are only 3 units that you can choose. So 5 and 3, 8. That is how it will make 120 credits. Okay. The reason I say this is, and let me just try and show you something parallelly. How would this be reflected in your, say, diploma? Just as an example. Let me just pull out something. So if somebody does the journal pathway and they are doing an MBA, this is how your diploma will look like. It is a 2-page transcript. It will show your name, what grade you have achieved it in, pass, merit, or distinction. It will say the qualification. And then on the second page of your transcript, it will show the units you have done and grades you have achieved. Okay, so this is how your diploma actually looks like. Now, you do not need to achieve distinction on all the grades units or merit on all the units. Basically, how this works, there's a system. It is not something that the lecturer can decide that you are my favorite student and I want to give him distinction. No, it works on a grading scale which has been decided by the awarding body. So there's a grading system in place, and that grading system has to be used to calculate what grade you are getting on each unit, and that then summarized to get a full grade on the overall qualification. So just showing you one other thing, that assuming, let me open up that strategic planning document. Now, when you see points, there's a reason behind how the grade has been graded. Each task is 5 points, right? So if I add all these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. So there are 19 tasks. So if I multiply now, 19 into 5 points, what you're going to be able to say is that is the overall grade that you've actually achieved, in the unit. So 19 multiplied by 5 is 95 points. And if you achieve, for example, over 75 points, because you must have done all the tasks, it's not 19, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. 19. Yeah, so anything over 75 points will tip your grade to distinction. If I do up to 60 points and between 60 and 75, it will make it merit. But if you're over 45 points, that would mean that you have achieved a pass. So in the past, if I do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So 13 5s are 65. But sometimes you would see that because here there are tasks which are quite a number of tasks, you would see that 45 to 55 is pass, 45 to 60 is pass, 60 to 75 is merit, and anything over 75 will be tipping your grade to distinction. In some units, the learning outcomes are 4. And in some units, the learning outcomes are 5. So if I look at another unit, just to show you in the book itself. So as you see, this is strategic planning. Then you go to finance, and there are, as you can see, only 3 learning outcomes. 1, 2, 3. So how many tasks are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 tasks. So basically here, if you do all the 14 tasks, you'll just barely make distinction, because distinction generally is about 75 points. Got it? So there is a logic behind it. It does not work on a favoritism. It does not work on individual judgment. The lecturer cannot decide. They will decide on the basis of your work which has been submitted.
Okay, that's mean every unit has a point. Every unit
has marks, yes.
So when calculate that, it's depend. I get pass or I get
merit or distinction.
But all
options.
No, my question: if I get, for example, if I got pass.
Yes.
Yeah, I accept with the Saudi government.
Yes, it will be accepted because you're passing the qualification.
Okay.
You're going to pass the unit and pass the qualification and get at least 120 credits. Because if you do not pass all the units, you will get less credits in your diploma. And you are failing few units. So failing will not happen, because that is where the consultative approach works. Because when you submit an assignment to us for the first time, we look at your assignment, we give you feedback on the assignment. And that means it allows you to redress or basically change the work as per the feedback given by the lecturer. And that allows you to makes sure that you are achieving the unit with at least a pass grade. Okay, so you're not going to fail. That is 100% clear. This is an example. This is another example where a learner has only achieved a pass. So she has done the same diploma, but all her units are passed. And she has achieved 120 credits, as you can see, which is the total highest credits in the qualification. So you are doing an extended diploma, and extended diploma is 120 credits.
Okay.
And she's only achieved a pass. Now, let me give you an example. Because the way this works, there's a grading system on it. So towards the end of your diploma, if you achieve 360 to 434 points, you will achieve pass, because 8 of your units, all the grades will be added up and they will be put onto a point scale. Merit will be 435 to 554, distinction will be 555 to 600. Now, it means that if I have to hit the grade, all I need to do is, if I achieve 5 units out of 8, 5 out of 8, I will still achieve, if I achieve 5 merit and the rest of the 3 units I do with pass, I will still have my overall grade as merit, because you would be in this bracket. So you do not need to get all the units with merit. Similarly, if I get 5 units with distinction out of 8 units that I study, my overall grade will move to distinction, because you will be in this bracket.
Good.
Is that okay?
I got it. Yes, I got it.
So sometimes I see learners trying very hard to achieve a merit, achieve a distinction. What you have to do is you have to be practical, rational. We would want you to achieve the highest grade on every unit. But if you are looking at achieving a better grade overall, then sometimes you have to do intelligent work to see what units I have more knowledge and I can pass them easily and get a higher grade, and what units are new to me and I have to read more, I have to bring myself up on that knowledge, and that will allow me to get a better grade. Okay, like finance unit, most people manage a pass because technically they don't like calculations or they are not very familiar with it. So in those cases, they manage a pass. Research project that they do, sometimes most learners only do a pass because how much you want to write. Research unit minimum word limit is 4,500, but you can write 12,000, 15,000 on it, and that would still not make sure that you achieve a distinction, because if the research is not justified, you would still not get it. So in those cases, learners pick and choose And we also advise that, okay, on these units, if you're looking at going through a qualification in a certain time frame and doing this, these are typically little, detailed units which you can actually just make a pass, and other units you achieve merit or distinction, but that will not overall affect your grade, and you will still end up making, a higher grade on that side. So this particular handbook is a good read, for you. It is about 68 pages, but a lot of information from the book we have already taken out. So unit specification, as you can see, from page 19 onwards, we have taken out, and they are available in individual modules in the what do you call Moodle. So I would suggest that you look at a few pages to familiarize yourself about this qualification. So maybe just open this book up and then go through ATHE if you want to look at them, their website. For example, if you want to see who ATHE is, we want to go onto the website. Like this was this year's graduation ceremony, and it was attended by ATHE CEO. This is some of my staff, and we were, there was a graduation which was held. So obviously, at the end of it, what happens is we invite you to attend a graduation as well, which is a traditional graduation, which happens in a chapel and, with gowns and everything. And the Lord Mayor is the chief guest. So we receive the Lord Mayor, he gives away the awards. There are speeches, just like you have this in the university. And lots of students attend. And obviously it's a special occasion wherein, the students are receiving the award. It is broadcasted live, and, everybody receives the award of the qualification that they do. So it'll be good for you to go into this handbook and maybe just look at familiarizing yourself with the qualification if you want to look at a pathway or, understand grading, things like how assessment is done, assignment wise, malpractice. So when you submit your assignment, next topic I'm going to come to very quickly is the referencing. So in your assignments, you cannot have more than 20% similarity. If you have more than 20% similarity in your assignment, then the problem is it will lead to what is called plagiarism. And you'll have to redress your work and resubmit it because of the fact that you will essentially be required to paraphrase, the work that you've submitted because you've not referenced it. So in those cases, it is important for you to understand that when you submit an assignment to us, we are going to make sure that you get what is called a plagiarism report. For every assignment that you submit, we will check for plagiarism, and the score should be less than 20%. So this is 2.1%. As you can see, this is fully original. These tasks are being, showing in red because they are common on all the units, all the students. But as you can see, most of the work is largely original. There is no copy and paste in the work. So when you submit an assignment to us, where do you submit the assignment? Assignment submission, to get some feedback before the grade is finalized, you submit the assignment on this particular email called learnerwork@ukversity.co.uk. So you get an acknowledgement receipt that your work has been received, and within 2 weeks of the submission, you will get feedback from the lecturer who has taught that unit to say your assignment is okay, this is fine, you've achieved this unit, or if you need to make any changes. Now, how is the feedback given? If I just show you, just as an example, on one particular assignment, in this case, the learner submitted managing continuous work improvement. And what we do is when the Word document comes in, on the Word document, we will switch on review and we'll make some comments here. Whether the task is okay, it is addressing the indicative content, it is you have presented evidence which is being asked about the task. So it says organizational culture will encourage continuous improvement. So has this been, given, evidence is related to that or not? So sometimes we feel that if the feedback, the evidence given is not accurate or is missing certain points, then we will ask you to, we will give you directive feedback to say, please change this, please refer to this slide, add this bit in, and that will make it pass, or that will take it over the finishing line. So every time when you submit assignments, within 2 weeks, you are going to get this back. And this will allow you to improve your grade and improve your work. Okay. Now, once the assignment has been approved and the quality manager failure was also checked, what will happen is you will get this sheet.
Can you give me a minute just only? I will charge my laptop.
Yeah, no problem. No problem.
Yes, I can.
No worries. So once we receive, the draft back, and we see that everything is fine, then you will receive this summative sheet, which is for your proof that you have completed this unit. And it will say achieved, wherever, for example, merit has been done or distinction has been not met, it will say not yet achieved. So in this case, the learner was given the first feedback, and then what he did was he submitted an additional piece of work, which was just this task for distinction, and that allowed him to achieve an overall grade of distinction on this particular unit. Okay, now sometimes what happens is when we ask you to resubmit something in terms of a task against a comment, then what we do is we ask you to highlight the content in yellow, which is the new thing that you have added to the document. This makes it easier for the lecturer to identify quickly that I had given this comment and this bit has been added, and now this is meeting the criteria. Now this is totally achieved. Once this process is completed, what then happens is you will get this summative sheet. It'll have the commenting on it, and it will be signed off by the lecturer. A final grade will be provided, and it will be checked by the quality manager. And this is your proof that you have achieved this particular unit. Okay, this process will repeat for every unit that you study. You will get this plagiarism report for every unit that you submit. You will get this front cover sheet, which will confirm the achievement, and you will get the annotated document back, which will confirm for your records and for your safekeeping that I have achieved this unit.
Every unit.
Every unit, all the 8 units, you will get it, and you will get these 3 documents back. Unit with the feedback, front cover sheet, which is the summative feedback, and then the plagiarism report. So that you have your own file, and own documentation at your end, which basically tells you that this is my proof I've studied the course. And then this work is checked by the awarding body. And once they check this work, when we have passed it, my quality manager has passed it, 100% certification will happen, and you will receive your diploma in 3 to 4 working days of completing the course. You don't have to wait for a month. You don't have to wait for 5 months, or when the term finishes, or when the others finish. No, nothing like that. It will be when you complete your qualification, you will receive your certification in 3 to 4 days. Okay.
So it's 8
units.
It's 8 units.
Yes.
With eight
assignments.
With 8 assignments. Okay.
Yes. Now, there are some good handy documents that I'll ask you to refer, that you can go through at your own pace. One is how to reference work. There is a video and there is a presentation. This is the presentation and this is our video. So this allows you to understand that how do we reference work.
Studying is not a straight path. It's more like a winding maze to finish university.
So
to see you through, you'll need...
So this is a 4-minute video which visually explains you how to do Harvard referencing. And then
yes, I talk log before. Okay, and I will replay it again.
Right. And this is the presentation which explains how you can do referencing. Right. So if I look at, have you done referencing before?
Yes, but not academic like this one.
Okay, so I'll tell you, in the UK education system, we follow what is called Harvard referencing. Okay, Harvard referencing is also called the author date style system. So it writes the name of the author and the date in which they publish the work, and that is why it is called author date style referencing system. Now, why do we need to reference and how do we reference? Referencing is done to give credit. Because if I choose a definition or a framework, it was not created by me. Like if I look at 4 P's of marketing, it was created by Jerome McCarthy. If I look at the definition of marketing, it is given by American Marketing Association, Chartered Institute of Marketing, and it's an approved definition. If I bring that into my work, I have to give credit to the author or the organization which has created that. That process is called referencing. Now, referencing can be done in 2 ways. One is direct quotes. That means I pick up something as it is from an article, journal, or an electronic published material like website or article, and I have to include that in inverted commas because I cannot change the meaning or alter the meaning of that definition of the framework because it is something as it is I have to put. This is normally used to build arguments. So in that case, you have to put everything in inverted commas. Now, if you read something and you write it in your own words without changing the meaning of the context, then that is called paraphrasing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, in paraphrasing, you do not need to use inverted commas. Okay, now how will I do this? For example, I'm going to just do a quick search and just give you a quick example. If there was a task which talks about explain the definition and 4 P's of marketing. Assuming as an example, this is task 1, right? How would I go about doing referencing? So what I will do is, I know the definition of marketing, I know what is 4 P's, but if I show you how to do this, you might refer a book, you might refer to, say a journal or maybe an article, but I'm going to go to the website, American Marketing Association. This is the approved definition of marketing as per them in 2017. Now, if I have to copy this as it is, how would I say? Definition of marketing as per American Marketing Association is, comma, open inverted quotes. I copy this as it is because it's a definition and I cannot change the meaning. So what I will do is I'll copy this as it is and I'll put it here. But what I now need to do is give them the credit that I've copied it from this website. Close the inverted commas. How do I go about referencing? Click on references on the top. Go to different referencing system, but choose Harvard Anglia for UK. There are lots of different types of systems in the world. Then what I do is go to insert citation. Now, where am I picking this up from? Am I picking this up from an interview, a film, sound recording, electronic source, website, report, book, article, journal? I'm getting it from a website. Now, I have to write the name of the author. So what is the name of the author? The name of the author is American Marketing Association, AMA. I'll write short. What is the name of the web page? Definitions of marketing. So you fill this up. What is the URL? So if you choose a book, it will change the settings. If you choose a website, it will change. If you choose an article, it will be changing. In which year it was published, we know 2017. In what year we are accessing? 2022, month is 1, and today's date 11 January. And I click OK. It puts a reference here, as you can see. Right? Now, assuming I have to put a couple of definitions of marketing. So what I say is I look at another definition, what is marketing? And this time I go to Investopedia, another site, another credible site. And what I do is I read what the marketing is saying, right? So here, as per Investopedia, the definition of marketing. So here I'm not going to copy it because there are hyperlinks and other things. I'm going to write it in my own words. So I'll read this. Definition of marketing as per Investopedia is the process which the companies or organizations undertake to promote their good, say, product and services to consumers using promotions, advertising, selling, and say and other related activities. Now, I have to still reference it because I've read this, but I'm writing it in my own words. Again, follow the same process. Go to insert citation, website again, and this way I'm going to write Investopedia then again the web page name, the URL, this is the URL here. Now this, you have to find out, sometimes it is difficult to find in which year it was done. So it says 10th November 2021. So it has been recently updated. Year access 2022, 01/11. And I click OK. You see it puts a reference here. Now,
Okay.
if I follow this process of Harvard referencing while I'm creating the evidence and doing other tasks, then towards the end of my document, I need to create a list of what is called a bibliography or total list of references. So I click on bibliography here on the top, choose one style, and you would see that it brings everything in alphabetical order with the date on which it was accessed. If it was a journal, it will show a journal. If it was a book, it will show a book. And this way, the lecturer can also go in and check that the work being quoted by the learner is authentic and is something which is meeting the criteria. And that is how you develop Harvard referencing.
Yep.
Is that okay?
Yes, yes.
Good stuff. So this presentation will take you through it. Sometimes you have to reference 2 authors, 3 authors, how you do it, more than 3 authors, and it'll help you understand this. There are other bits that you would need, maybe how to format an essay, how to make, the assignment professional, what makes a good assignment. There is one other important document you can look at, which is command verb. And I've explained that to you earlier, that sometimes you have explained, sometimes you have defined, sometimes you have described, analyzed, compare, contrast. So if you know the meaning of the word, what it is asking you to do, then you can present your evidence much more clearly and effectively. And that allows you to achieve the task first time when you submit. Is that okay?
Yes, yes.
This is a good document for you to have because it will allow you to understand the definition of these words when you start doing your assignment. Okay, there are some policies, if you need to refer to them, what is a malpractice policy, what is plagiarism, these policies are in the policies folder. Should you need to refer to any of them, you can do that. Okay.
Okay.
Now, that is the bit which I wanted to cover in terms of our discussion today. So you basically know and you understand how to access Moodle, the course in terms of units, pathways, how the grading works, plagiarism, how the assessment is done via assignments. You've seen an actual assignment, how the feedback and assessment process works, where to submit assignment at learner work, how to get feedback, basic other related materials like referencing, command verbs, and looking at showing you a sample assignment and the assignment brief. Now, this helps us cover pretty much everything for today that I had planned. Do you have any questions on this so far?
In my schedule from Saturday until today, I cannot log in some lectures.
Okay.
I don't know that there is live lectures or maybe not yet. I don't know.
Okay, that's a good question. So basically about your lectures, how you would study, how would you start study, how to start study. Okay, now first things first, I would give you a bit of a plan to say this is how you should approach and study the units. Now, there are some easy units which are purely theoretical, and there are some technical units which I would want you to attend some lectures because it makes it easier while you're going through with the lecture. Okay, so what my session would be to start reading and going through the recordings of the first unit, which is personal development for leadership and strategic management. Okay, there are 2 ways of doing it. One, you go through the lecture presentations. You open the slides and you go through the slides one by one, right? You understand what the slides are talking, the key terms, you go through the detailed section, and obviously, get to the bits in terms of how the unit is to be covered. Now, if you have any doubts after going through the slide, my session would be to read and listen to the recording. So click on the recording and then go through the recording of the session. So that will explain to you pretty much all the program, all the details of that particular learning outcome. right? Now, once this has been done, go through the handouts if they are there for that particular unit. If not, go to the next learning outcome, go to the next presentation. And once you have gone through all the presentation, I'll write PPTX and the recordings, make a note of your queries. What are your doubts? Okay. Then you send an email to one of the coordinators to say that, hi, I have read this unit, name of the unit. So in short, I will write PDLSM. And and these are my doubts for which I would like to arrange a tutorial. Okay. Now, this particular unit, for example, PDLSM is actually done by either me or Anju. Now, what the coordinator will do is look at, and you mentioned, I am available on this time and date. So give always 2 times and 2 dates.
Okay.
Okay. Then what the coordinator is going to do is he or she is actually going to get in touch with the lecturer and then say, okay, Turki wants to get a session tutorial done on this unit. This is the time. What times are you available? They'll fix up this and they will send you a Zoom invite. So on that invite, when you join the session like you're doing with me today, what we are going to do is basically go through the doubts and queries and summary of the unit. Whether it takes 5 minutes, 15 minutes, 50 minutes, 5 hours, does not matter. The idea would be to take you and close all your doubts and queries so that you can start doing your assignment. Okay.
Every unit, every lesson.
Every
Unit.
not necessarily. If you understand, most of the material that we've created and most of the lectures which have been put as recordings, it's not computer-based recordings, it is actual live lectures. You will 100% understand. I would say 99% understand everything. You will
Yes,
be able
I see that. Yes, I see that. Yes, it's
But
clear and
but sometimes still you will have queries. So
Exactly.
for that, you can have tutorial for every unit. They could be
Okay.
done 2 times, 3 times, no problem. If, for
Okay.
example, we do the tutorial and you still feel after that, I still have doubts, again, put a request. We'll do another tutorial. There is no additional cost, no additional issue. You can ask for 10 tutorials, 15 tutorials, not a problem.
So it's easy, and I have the confidence to get full benefits. Let me
Yes.
say that.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Okay.
And once you've gone through the unit, then you go and do the assignment brief. Go and look at the assignment discussion session, which basically also gives you clear guidelines in terms of how the assignment has to be done. So there's a presentation for that. There's a scenario which is coming. All the things which are given in the assignment brief, we have discussed with a live session, and that is also recorded. And what we've done is, where is this coming from? This is coming from the assignment brief of the unit. And it is the exact same assignment brief which you have to attempt. But what we've done is we've broken it down. How to go about it. Task 1, this is what it says. Then how do we do task 1? What activities it is covering? We've broken it down and made it a presentation. Okay, so if you look at the recording of this, it is going to be telling you how to do the assignment.
Okay.
Okay.
No life assignment.
Sorry, no.
No life assignment.
No, we don't live assignment. There's a discussion on it.
Okay.
Which is basically showing you how to do the assignment. The lecturer will be going through the assignment brief. As you can see, he is going to tell you which task, what evidence, where you have to be coming from, what you have to cover. Everything is being explained to you. Now you have to do it after that. We can't do it for you, but after that you have to do it. So he's discussing each of the tasks and showing you, this is what I've covered in this task. This is what you can pick up from this slide, or look at this detail. And he's explaining all this to you in detail in the assignment brief. So the full assignment brief is also discussed.
Okay.
Is that okay? And then even after that, if you have doubt, then you request for a tutorial.
Okay.
Okay. And I will give you an order of units that you should look at. So start with the personal leadership and strategic management unit. This is the easiest unit to do. Reason being, it is purely theoretical.
Start
Then
with
purely
strategic.
theory is only theory, not much technicality, in terms of theory. Then second unit, I would suggest do strategic human resource management, which is this unit after this. Then I would suggest do strategic marketing, because everybody knows about marketing. We get to see adverts, videos, billboards, promotions. So we understand marketing, but marketing is a good unit to do, because at the end of the day, you understand all the stuff in terms of marketing. Then we go to organization behavior.
Okay.
And then again, a theoretical unit, managing continuous organizational improvement. Simple unit, 3 learning outcomes, 3 lectures, organization behavior, 4 learning outcomes, 4 lectures, simple unit. Right? Now, there are units on which we will ask you to attend live lectures. One is finance for strategic managers. There is research project, and strategic planning. These, I think, if you go through the content of these units, you will want tutorials on them, because you want to look at examples, you want to maybe discuss, and they can be done specifically with you on a date and time with regards to helping you get through these units. Now, one last thing. We are also doing live lectures. It is not that we are not doing live lectures, but you will receive a schedule of these live lectures as and when they are scheduled. So on your course, we've got Avneet, we've got Sarmad, he's from Jordan, I think. We've got a couple of learners who are already doing this course with us. And they are all, on this particular course. Krishna, he's from Dubai. And then you yourself, who have all started, in December timeframe. So when we do live lectures, it is going to be 4 of you in the same batch, right? And you will receive a schedule of these live lectures, which will come to you from one of the coordinators. So who are the coordinators? So we have Aman and Catherine. Okay. Now, if you want to write an email to either of them, you can also use the generic email, which is coordinator@ukversity.co.uk. Both of them will get it.
Okay.
Okay. So some of the important emails and people that you will get, mails from, which is coordinator. Sometimes it will be registrar / Amrita. We'll have admin, which is for IT and general inquiries. And then you also have what are called, the learner work email, which is for assignment submission. Okay, all the material, any changes that we do, everything will be done on Moodle. If you upload a new file, you'll get an alert. If you subscribe yourself, you'll be able to get alerts. So you can add your notifications to it. And if you upload a new presentation, upload a new slide or a new lecture, you would get to see specifically notification for your own course. Okay. So what you have to do is go into your course, and in the forum, just basically you will get these automatically coming to you. The schedule will be sent on email as well. So you will get the schedule from us on the email when the live lectures are being done. And because you're doing the course, you're 100% going to be invited. Is that okay? So any other questions at your end? Hello? So if you let me know if there are any other questions at your end.